The Florida Joint Center for Citizenship presents the federal government's obligations and services. Who should you call when the water's not working in your house? How are speed limits on roads decided? Why are driver's licenses issued by states? In order to answer these questions, you need to know the types of government power and the different obligations of federal, state, and local governments. After watching this video, you will be able to 1. Define the terms enumerated, reserved, and concurrent powers. 2. Understand the obligations and services of government at the federal level. And 3. Apply your understanding of government services through scenarios. Let's get started. Let's begin by looking at different types of government power: enumerated, reserved, and concurrent. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution lists the powers given to the legislative branch. These are called enumerated powers. These powers are given only to the United States Congress. Some examples of enumerated powers are the power to declare war, naturalize citizens, create post offices, pay for an army and a navy, control immigration, and control trade. Remember, enumerated powers are powers only for the United States Congress. Another type of government power is reserve power. The 10th Amendment states, "The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people." This means that the 10th Amendment gives or reserves all the powers that are not specifically listed for the federal government to the states and to the people. Some examples of reserve powers are the power to create an education system and the power to issue driver's licenses. Note that the powers of Congress listed or enumerated in Article 1, Section 8 identify specific actions that Congress may take. There are no listed powers for states. This means that the powers reserved to the states are only limited when the federal government decides to limit them. A third type of government power is concurrent power. Concurrent powers are the powers that are shared by the federal and state governments. Examples of concurrent powers include the power to collect taxes, the power to borrow money, the power to make laws, and the power to create and repair roads and highways. Let's check in. Can you match the government power with the correct definition? Answer: enumerated powers are powers given to the federal government. Reserved powers are powers given to the state governments. And concurrent powers are powers shared by the federal and state governments. Well done. Let's recap what we've learned so far. Enumerated, reserved, and concurrent powers are different types of government powers. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution lists the enumerated powers of Congress. The 10th Amendment reserves all the powers not listed in the Constitution to the states and the people, and concurrent powers are powers shared by both the federal and state governments. Now that we know the types of government powers that exist, let's take a look at how the levels of government use these powers to fulfill obligations to the people. While the federal government and state governments are given certain powers, they also have certain obligations they must fulfill. Sometimes these obligations take the form of services provided to citizens. Each level of government provides services to the citizens and residents they serve. Let's take a closer look at those obligations that involve the federal government. Be sure to review state and local government obligations and services under the Florida State and Local Government topic area. The federal government has certain obligations and must provide certain services equally to all citizens of the United States. These services focus on issues that impact everyone, such as national safety, national defense, and the general welfare. The federal government collects taxes in order to pay for services it provides to citizens. Some services the federal government provides are 1. Helping the elderly and the poor get health care and housing. 2. Mail through the Postal Service. 3. Money and services to areas impacted by disasters. And 4. The military. When you think about the federal government and its obligations and services, it is helpful to remember that the federal government provides services to help all U.S. citizens. Let's check in. Scenario: you served in the U.S. Army for 8 years. You are planning on going to college using a scholarship provided to military veterans. Which level of government would you contact to make sure you receive your scholarship money? Answer: the federal government. The federal government is in charge of affairs concerning military veterans. Well done. Let's recap what we've learned so far. The federal government is obligated to provide services to U.S. citizens. The federal government provides its services through the collection of tax dollars. The federal government focuses on providing services that impact national safety, national defense, and the general welfare of its people. Thanks for watching. This video produced for instructional purposes by the Florida Joint Center for Citizenship. Video produced and edited by the Florida Joint Center for Citizenship staff.